Hello, and welcome to another episode of From Paper to People. It's episode 208, and I am your hostess with the mostest, Carolyn Nee Laughlin. This is not a normal episode because I have to fess up to some things that you all need to know about. I do want to thank a couple of new pledges. Let's see, we've got Krista Nelson Farber joined us, and I appreciate that very much. And also, just about a few minutes ago, Simona McAngus joined us, and I really appreciate you so much. So thank you for becoming members of the Patreon army. That's very cool. I've been missing in action a lot. You know, last year I was publishing regularly every week. And I had a lot of energy and I was really happy about it. And I was so excited to teach. And then I started doing interviews, and that was really exciting and really fun. And it's not that I don't enjoy doing this, and I will continue to do it. It is that some things happened that slowed me down, and I'm coming back to normal speed. But looking at what other people have shared about their lives on Twitter within the genealogy and historian communities, I realized that I'm kind of old-fashioned about what it is that I share about my life. I tend not to tell people the truth about how I'm doing and what's going on. I'm kind of a professional at putting on the brave face and telling a joke or telling a story. So I want you to know what it is that's been going on so that you understand that I have not lost interest in you or in what it is that we're doing. And just so that you understand that I am working my way back to giving you what I promised to give you in episode 1. For 40 years, I have been battling major depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. And it got a lot worse when this president was elected, because the Me Too movement came, and it was a blessing in many ways, but it was also kind of the cracking of a shell, and instead of an egg, worms came out. And it was just emotionally a very trying experience for me. I know it has been for a lot of other women too. And it got to the point last year, at about this time last year, when I started to lose it a little bit. And I know that I told people that I had gone into the hospital briefly in August. And people were asking like, oh, you know, was it your appendix? Was it this? Was it that? And whatever they asked, I just said, yeah, it was that. Because it was just easier than telling the truth. Because I've never thought that people hear about mental illness very easily. But, you know, you millennials get all the credit because you apparently hear this stuff easier than my generation does. And so last August, I did go into a psychiatric ward for 3 days. And I've been fighting my way back ever since. And it's been pretty rough. Most of the work that I do, the newsletter that I set up that puts out every day, the Ancestors Alive newsletter that comes from paper.li, that's an automatic aggregator of articles. So once I set it up, I just have to check it to make sure that like Gawker or something like that doesn't get brought in, you know, and there have been some crazy articles that have gotten brought in. And so I just have to ban those sites. But otherwise, you know, I set that up on my laptop in bed, and I'm recording right now in bed in my pajamas. And I do most of my work either on my phone or in bed, whether I'm doing research or I'm recording the podcast or whatever. I only go to my desk to work when I'm doing a Zoom interview so that I look a little bit more professional, because I have books behind me, but it's kind of like, don't look behind the curtain kind of thing, because the Wizard of Oz is actually a little chick pulling levers. And that's how I've been living. And I try to make it as pleasant as possible for you guys, I mean, even right now, I'm sitting here smiling because I love you and I love what I do, but it's been real hard. So I'm starting to pick up steam. I'm starting to have more energy. I'm editing a terrific interview that I did with the outlaw historian. Oh my gosh, it's so good. We talk about his thesis and it's just fantastic. And then I've got another one that's stage 2 out of a 3-stage interview series about DNA. I have all kinds of people lined up, really good, authoritative people on with differing views on DNA. I've got all different kinds of things ready. People are ready to come on, but the problem has been I haven't been ready to interview them. So I'm getting there. I also have lessons that let's just say I've written down a list of topics and I'm starting to get those ready to teach because I've half written about 3 or 4 of those. So I'm not without material for you. I'm rethinking the family cookbook and I will probably put a poll up. I'll let you know about that, whether it's on Twitter or it's on the Facebook page, not in the group, but on the page, asking a couple of different scenarios about how to handle recipes, maybe to just include them as much smaller things in a larger episode, or whether you want them to be standalone episodes as they are now. So start to think about that anyway. I want you to be more of a part of of all of this than you have been so far. I want to interview more listeners because I really want y'all to be more a part of this. Now, I want to remind you that the Facebook group is open to any and all persons who are on Facebook. You don't have to do anything except ask to be accepted and answer 3 questions, and then you're in. We let you in. It's great. And we've got about 153 members, and it's a little bit quiet right now because I haven't been on it very much. So let's liven it up. And of course, I always need support on my Patreon page. And support levels start at $1 a month. They go as high as $50 a month. And for some of the higher amounts, you get treats. So there's always that. And I always need financial support. So you can consider that too. You can also just follow and not give at Patreon because I put out some information there that I don't put out anyplace else. So there are all these different places where you can get information. I'll put all of the links in the show notes for this, which are going to be interesting because I have no written script for this. So I'm going to have to translate all of this by typing. That's going to be scary. Anyway, I wanted this to be just me talking to you so that I could be as honest as possible. I feel a lot better already. I feel like it has been hanging over my head, but it's not hanging over my head now. And I really want to thank all of you for your support because a couple of people have known throughout that something was wrong, and folks have been real supportive, and I really appreciate that. So, just keep slugging away at your work. Please join the Facebook group, and remember, above all, don't be a Jeffrey.